First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. I haven't done this for quite some time for universities, but at least I'm so glad that I could do it again. So, without further ado, let's get started. I don't have a lot of slides because I don't really believe in uh, boring people to death, but why not? Let's get some slides on. First of all, I would like to give an introduction about me. I usually don't do this. Okay. I will remove that slide so you will listen to me first of all. Then, I usually don't do this. I don't really talk about what I did, what experience I got, or I feel it's more like being a little bit too boasting or um, being I don't know, marketing myself a little bit more. But because this is about building skills, I really wanted to give a glimpse of what I did while I was in the uni, because I think it will give a better understanding for everyone what is possible. And this is not just everything that you can do, this is just only a little things that you can do. So now this is in like reverse chronological order. So I'm currently leading the team that is responsible for all the images in Trivago. So if you don't know what Trivago is, it's a German based company and it does hotel searching. So that means just like booking.com, you can go, I think probably better than booking.com, you go there and then find the best deals. So we have a lot of data and then I'm leading that team. And before that, I used to be a software engineer in the same team. And then before I moved to Germany, I was working in Sri Lanka. Probably you already know the company, it's LSAG Tech. Previously, it was called Millennium IT. And then I was also part of IEEE, also Toastmasters, graduated from UCSC. And before graduating, I was also the president of both Computer Science Society and also IEEE student branch. And then also I got a scholarship when I was in the third year to go to Sweden and study in the university. And this is also important at this point. So please remember that I did that because I will explain how I got it. And then also Microsoft Student Partner. I mean, I will not bore you to death regarding all things that I did, but just go to LinkedIn and feel free to contact me through LinkedIn because I usually reply to people and then I would like to also help. Then also I do this during my free time. Feel free to check it out. The reason that I tell everything this is not about like putting me on the spot and say, hey, look, all the cool things that I do and then I'm awesome and so on. That's a different story. But this is all about what we have to do or what we should be doing also while doing studies and also while doing a job. So this is the, if there is anything that you would like to take away from this session, this would be it. A university degree is just another qualification, because many people think that while or after entering a university everything is done, all their problems are solved and nothing bad can happen. But that's wrong, because this might be true like 10-15 years ago, because not everybody had degrees, right? But now everybody has one. In at least in Germany, if you walk around, everybody has a degree because it's so common for people to have a bachelor's degree. Of course, the circumstances are different in Sri Lanka, but now you think about it, probably you are studying either software engineering or IT or computer science or whatnot, but there are a lot of universities and private institutions give this degree programs, so called degrees, but also like proper degrees like your university. Then everybody has one. If you look around and you will see your competition, I mean, not in a bad way, but when you go into the industry, everybody or most of the people who are applying for these jobs will have a degree. So you need to do some stuff that will differentiate you from the others. That's all this session is about, and everything I did was for that. Not necessarily in the intention that I need to be better and I need to do better in interviews and so on, but also because I liked it. And that's the whole motivation behind it anyway. So what do we need? when you apply for a company or a position, it's usually everybody has these skills. You can learn the skills, the technical skills. Programming could be Java, C++, Python, I don't know, anything. You can learn it. No big issue there. But the problem is the companies already know that, and they just need people with good attitudes. And in this session, I will also explain what things I would call we, because I'm also in the industry now, look for when we are hiring, especially undergraduates or other graduates, freshly graduates. So first of all, of course, technical skills, no doubt there, you need technical skills. But that doesn't mean either you get a job with technical skills. Like if you are the best technical person in the uni or in the entire pass outs of all the universities, it doesn't mean that you will get a job. But also, it doesn't mean you cannot get a job without this. So don't confuse. It also means that with a less number of technical skills, you can get a way better job with someone who has perfect technical skills but not the other skills. So that's what I also wanted to highlight. But of course, you need to have technical skills. What are the technical skills that probably will need? So I usually have this list. So you'll probably see that I haven't mentioned any specific technologies here because it doesn't matter. If you know the basics, if you know the concepts, it's very easy to learn any of the other things. So starting with data structures and algorithms, if you didn't really study or you just faked your exam in the data structures algorithms, I think it's a high time that you go back and refer to these lecture notes and also try them out practically, because it adds a lot of value to your knowledge, of course. But in the interviews, they usually check these skills, whether you know data structures and algorithms, and also system design, programming, at least one programming language. Frameworks, it's good that you already know at least one framework for the programming language that you're applying. Could be, let's say, Java, you know, Spring Boot or Hibernate and so on. For Python, could be Flask, Django. And for JavaScript, I think Node.js, Vue.js, all this stuff. But also important that you know how to test your code, because without testing a code, you cannot really say that you did a good job. And then definitely version control, databases, could be MySQL or any SQL, or NoSQL like MongoDB or any cloud-based NoSQL databases. And containerization, which is Docker or any other like Kubernetes or any other containerization platform. CI/CD, which means continuous integration and continuous deployment, which means that how we deploy our code. We don't really go and manually deploy our, like, release our apps and so on. We need to know GitHub Actions, could be Circle CI, could be Jenkins, these kind of tools. I know I'm just putting out some random words, probably you'll see, but if you can write this down and then go later on and check this. And finally, if something goes wrong, to debug. And I haven't mentioned this in my this list, but if possible, learn about cloud technologies. Could be AWS or could be GCP, could be Azure or random Alibaba cloud, I don't know, anything. It's also good to know. I just skimmed through the list because this is not the focus of the session, because we need to focus more. What else do we need to know? As I mentioned, companies hire the attitude. And all of these things, yes, you need to know the basics, but you can learn it. For example, in most of the companies, I'm not sure the current situation in Sri Lanka now, but most of the companies, they will give at least 1 month or 2 months for fresh graduates to learn something while doing the job. Now it's getting a little bit trickier because now people need already skillful people. So in that way, I think you probably should already know these kind of technologies beforehand. But especially when you switch jobs, if you need to switch to a different technology, it's always important you know the basics, but also the next skills, because that's more important to a company than just living on let's say, the same technology forever. Because I've faced a lot of these cases in my career where the company suddenly decides, oh well, let's stop doing this technology and move to the other one. And if we don't have the capability to learn this new technology, we are not good. I mean, yes, of course, you can apply to a different company, but if the company actually is good and then it treats you well, then why change? And also, if you get enough challenges, that's also important. I think this is the topmost skill that you need to learn. Yes, it's a little bit innate. How do you call, like, that you are born with it? I mean, it's debatable, but I believe this also can be practiced. Logical thinking. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you need to be able to solve all the complex mathematical equations in the world, but rather approach a problem logically with proper reasoning and try to find a solution with proper evidence. This is very hard to find, at least in the current like graduates or even in the entire industry. People just do random things and then, like, yeah, this probably will fix the problem, but apparently it doesn't. So we need to have a proper way of thinking, and to improve logical thinking, you can of course follow a course or watch a video, but I guarantee you it doesn't do. You have to practice. If you are into chess, you can do, play chess and whatnot, but also it's mostly practice. You just need to solve problems. You can go to HackerRank or Lead Code or Project Euler, solve the problems, and then it will, only then you will be able to think fast and come up with solutions for the problems, not just in the interview but daily in whatever the projects we do, right? And then this is something that many students and also people in the industry forget: communication skills. So in simple terms, what it means, that you have something in your head that you need to communicate, that's hence the term, clearly in a way that other people understand. So there are a lot of problems in this communication happening in a company. For example, you might be talking to one of your colleagues who has the same level of understanding. Let's say that you need to try explain a system design, then to a colleague with a technical background, perfectly fine. But you need to also explain this to your product owner, who is usually not technical. Then you come into a problem where how can you explain a complex problem in simple terms to someone who doesn't really understand? So we have this term where explain this problem to your grandma. So it means you have a very complex problem, but you need to explain to your grandmother or a 5-year-old in a way that they can understand in very simple terms. So probably you need to use a lot of analogies, use examples from the nature and very basic things. But that's important because that's what makes you different or skillful than the others. And just look around. The people who has the, like, say, the best, I wouldn't say best, but good communication skills are the ones actually leading teams, leading projects, even leading companies. The people who don't really have communication skills that much, they have to give this leading part to someone else and just do the technical things. So communication skills are very important, not just verbal but also written. So you need to be able to write your ideas in a way that someone can still understand when you are not there. So we'll also come to that in a later part of the presentation. But of course, this is not just me talking. We'll have a lot more time for you to ask questions. So I'm more than happy to answer questions, because this is just otherwise just random topics that I'm blabbering about. Then the last thing that I believe someone should have in the computer science or software engineering industry is fast learning. Because just the example that I mentioned, so when I was an engineer in like a few years ago, we were doing AWS, so Amazon Web Services, as a cloud provider. And then the company suddenly decided, not suddenly, like after several discussions, decided that we need to move to Google now for Google Cloud Platform. And everybody was devastated, of course, because people don't like change. But when you think about it, it's a good opportunity to learn something new and also to add something to our portfolio. Now I know both AWS and GCP, but if I refuse to learn this new technology and then say, oh, I don't really want to do that, that's really not sustainable, because the industry is changing, new technologies are coming, and we should be able to move to these new technologies and learn quite fast. If there are two people who can do the same thing, but one is learning quite fast, that person will have a higher edge in the industry and also in the interviews, of course, and doing projects and so on, because they learn quite fast. It's also a skill. That's what I mean. This is not something that you are born with. Probably you are, but you can also learn this. You need to do new things. You need to try new things out. Otherwise, you will never learn. So I believe this is, even though I put it in the third place, this is also one of the, probably the topmost one that anyone should have. Doesn't really matter software engineering or anything. Any one who's going to any type of jobs in the current market. So the question is, okay, Pranit, now you mentioned several things, but how am I going to do this? Well, I don't know. Let's try. Let's see what we can do, right? One thing that I highly recommend is doing personal projects. Personal projects mean not the university projects that you do, that you have to do as a part of your curriculum. There are assignments, there are group projects or whatnot that you have to do. Unless your project is like the next big idea, I wouldn't really focus much on, of course, do the project properly, but as a part of building up your portfolio, because everybody does this project in your batch and probably in entire university system. This project has to do, but what makes you stand out is that you do something on your own. So that's why I put personal projects. And if you don't really have any cool ideas to implement, go with open source projects. There are a lot of millions of open source projects out there that you can contribute. Doesn't necessarily mean that you can do technical stuff. Even documentation could be diagramming and a lot of other things. So start a project. I mean, I have done a lot of sessions and also a lot of videos regarding how to do projects and so on. So I will not fill the entire session with those things. Just Google it and then you will find out, or just send me a message. I will explain in detail. So focus on a project, pick a technology that you want to excel, start small and then keep iterating and then build a project. And that will be really helpful, first to learn a new technology or excel an existing technology you have, and then it will add a lot of weight to your CV, because not a lot of people do these projects, and then it will make you stand out. Then hackathons. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. Hackathons, it's nothing to do with hacking or anything. It's not necessarily hacking an idea. So in hackathons, usually could be 24 hours, 40 to 48 hours, 7, I don't know, depends on the time. You go there, you have an idea, you implement the idea. It's not the entire idea, so don't get it wrong. It's a POC, that means proof of concept, or MVP, it means minimum viable product. So that means a product that you can present to someone and then get validation. Mostly there are sponsors, or there are third parties, non-profitable organizations and so on. They have this idea that they need to improve, that they don't have any technical skills, so they sponsor these hackathons and then get these things done. First, you will know how to work under pressure. Second, you will learn how to do iterations, like fast iterations, and then just make things work. And also have fun with people, just enjoy sharing ideas and so on. So try to find some hackathons. I'm not sure if you are already aware of it, but just there are a lot. Then this is also very important, which most people don't do, is volunteering. So there are different types of volunteering. I will break this into two sides mainly. One is tech related volunteering, the other one is not so tech related volunteering. For tech related volunteering, could be there are technical communities that you can take part. I mean, of course, the CSSL is one of them. There is other computer science societies in other universities. There is IEEE, there is also ISAC, there is FOSS LK, there is Sustainable SEF, Sustainable Education Foundation. So these kind of lot of programs that we can take part and volunteer. So they do workshops, they do tech talks and so on. It's so important that we go there and meet people, and also it increases our network, or expands our network, and also we can definitely learn a lot of things. Don't take these things like small, because these things play a bigger part than we actually imagine. And the other side is non-technical volunteering. Could be that you go to some schools and then teach or set up, I don't know, a library, this kind of very small things. But also it's, I think, also a spiritual thing. But also it helps you to give something back to the society while actually enjoying it. And not necessarily everybody would like to go somewhere and do this, but there are a lot of online communities that you can do this. I mean, for example, I'm doing this online. You don't really have to go anywhere. Just stay home and then do this kind of session online, because in through internet, I think you can do almost most of the things. Then mentoring and being mentored. This is a little bit tricky, but just try it out. Mentoring means that you are mentoring someone else. Doesn't necessarily mean that you know everything and then you are teaching. It's not teaching, it's mentoring. So it's guiding someone to the through the correct path. You don't have to be certified mentor or in the industry or whatnot. You can even mentor your juniors in your university. I mean, if you are in the first year of university, you can mentor A-level students or O-level students. And it's perfectly possible. And then you will learn how to deal with people. That's very important, because you will be working with people, right? And then you need to know how to persuade people to get things done. And I think that's a skill that you cannot learn in university or any other school, that you need to talk to people and get things done. So mentoring increases or improves that skill from your side. And the other side, you can do both of them together. Being mentored, you can find someone to mentor you. Not necessarily that that you learn something from someone, but to get a third person perspective. Something that most people misjudge is mentoring is about sitting together, like going through a lecture, and then the person is telling you what to do. But it's not necessarily that. It's mostly about having casual chat and then explaining the experiences and then getting a feedback. So mentors should usually give feedback, not ask them what to do. So that's how it should be. So try to find a mentoring program. So I'm also a part of this organization called ADP List. I'm not sure if you have heard. So I'm a mentor there. You can also sign up as a mentor and then put your expertise, and then there will be people all around the world will be talking to you to get some experience. So don't think that you don't know anything. I'm pretty sure that you know something that the other people don't, because that's what makes you you, right? Because all your experiences. So just go there and then try to find a mentoring program. There is also another one called Mentor in Color. So it's mostly focusing on, as the name says, color. That means not white people, the other people, but that's more focused on that. But I'm not really sure how it works. So go there and just Google. Use Google. That's one of the best inventions of the decade, I guess. Then tech talks and conferences, just like this one. You can meet a lot of people. You can learn cool things. You can, of course, get t-shirts, but that's shouldn't be the main focus, of course. Don't do that. Just go there to learn something and talk to people. You will learn a lot more things than you sit in a lecture room and then talking to your friends, because you will learn how things are actually happening in the industry. So there can be some stuff that you are learning in the university that doesn't really make sense in the industry, and there can be some stuff done in the industry that is never taught in the university. This is mostly, the second one is mostly true, how things are done. So for example, I mean, don't get me wrong, but we don't draw UML diagrams when we do softwares. Sometimes ER diagrams, sometimes data flow diagrams, but we don't do this use case diagrams. And it's not, because you are so used to the system and you already know what to do. And the other way around, you learn about sorting algorithms. We never use it when we code, because the sorting algorithms taught on university are mostly outdated, and there are way faster variants of these kind of algorithms already implemented in programming languages. So if you think that when you say arrays.sort in Python it uses merge sort, you are partially right. So just search what it uses. I think it uses a red black tree. So these kind of things are taught in uni but not being used in the industry. You will only learn these kind of things going into tech talks. I think now you know better. Also go to conferences. You don't have to go in person. There are a lot of conferences online that you can attend, mostly for free. There are these Google sessions, there are done by GitHub, and there are thousands of meetups happening. Just go to meetup.com and there are like several sessions you can already attend online. Then blogging. So remember I mentioned that you need to be able to communicate properly, not just verbally but also in written format. This is one of the best things that you can do to improve your written skills. So I started my blog when I was in the first year, and you will not believe when I say the first post was about solving an ER diagram in a past paper of the university. So it's a previous year ER diagram. That was my first blog post. And I was like, I don't know, I just feel like, sharing with these other people. I solved it because I was a little bit, let's say, proficient in the ER diagrams and SQL back in the days. Then I thought, okay, I need to share this with other people because it's also, many people keeps on asking me the same question over again. I was like, so frustrating. And then I need to also write this down so anybody can look into that and then learn it. I don't have to talk then. The same thing that I did for my YouTube channel, because a lot of people asking questions, and I just like, okay, I don't have time to answer all these people, so I will record some videos and put it out. It's the same way. The intention is to share knowledge and also improve yourself. So blogging is one of the best ways that you can do to improve your written skills and also definitely get some exposure. If you have a blog, I think it already increases your chances being selected in an interview probably like 2 times. This is at least what I feel. Where I interview a lot of people internationally, and I always check their LinkedIn, Stack Overflow, and if they have a blog. If they maintain this properly, that already increases a lot of chances because it shows this person would like to share their knowledge. They are not like this typical geek that takes care of only their business, but also would like to work with other people, because that's the most important thing. When you work in a company, you have to work with people. So that's I think very important than you think. And forums and online communities, just like I mentioned, there are a lot of online communities that you can take part. One is the top one is Stack Overflow. So go there. If you are only asking questions or looking for answers, probably you are not using it properly. Ask questions, and also very importantly, answer the questions. You might think, well, I don't know a lot, I'm just a beginner and so on. Just go to the whatever the section, let's say Python, go to the Python section of Stack Overflow and then see there will be tens of questions that you can answer, because all types of people ask questions there. Beginners, intermediates, experts, and even like Python gurus themselves. So you will find at least one question that you can answer. At least put a comment. So be active in these forums, because people check that. When they are interviewing you, they will check that. And also forums like Reddit, where else? I don't know. A lot of other communities like what was it? Hacker News. There are a lot of other online communities that you can join. Just go there and take part. I think that also helps you to know people like better, meet new people, and get exposure. So probably you might even find your next employer or person who's interviewing you in your online forum post. Who knows? Oh yeah, that's already it. I will tell you the story what happened to me regarding the scholarship. So I was in my 3rd year. I was doing this blog. I was taking part in this computer science society and all these activities because it's fun. I like to share my knowledge with people. So I thought that's a fun way to do that. And suddenly there was this scholarship program opened when I was in 3rd year. And they wanted people to apply for this 2 positions. So 2 students will go to Sweden and study in a university. It's the Umeå University for 6 months. Everything paid. Oh man, that's like a perfect golden ticket. But I was so afraid because, as you can already assume, going into all those sessions, going into all those volunteering and so on, I was definitely not the best of. But I didn't have a first class back then, or the degree. I mean, I did have a second up, but that's not the problem because there were a lot of these candidates applying for this particular position or the opening. I was not feeling that, okay, this is not for me, because all the people who apply have perfect grades and I am just probably like their 10th option if that ever comes to consideration. But also there were friends around me like, hey, just apply. I mean, you have nothing to lose. That's also a very important quote that I usually use everywhere. You have nothing to lose. Apply to all the positions, go there, go to sessions, and yeah, if you feel that you need to apply to a job, an internship or not, apply, because you have nothing to lose. If you get it, all good. If not, experience. That's it. I mean, you can write it somewhere if you want. So back to the story. I didn't think that I would get, but I applied anyway. I also struggled a little bit to write the motivation letter because it should be in English back in the days, and I was not really good at it, let's say. So also a note, please improve your English skills, because I mean, in Sri Lanka you can get around, but if you apply for a foreign company, you definitely need English, like proper English, because your entire career totally depends on it. Then I somehow managed to write the letter and then submit it. So those were the internship days, and I applied also to other companies through the university, of course, but I never got any response. I was so, how to say, demotivated because I didn't get the scholarship. They were still processing. They didn't say anything about the process, and I didn't get any internship call or email or whatsoever. So probably like 1 month passed. Many people already got internship interviews and so on, but I didn't get any. And I went to this university lecturer and who's responsible for the scholarship program, and then I told him, look, I applied for this scholarship program. I didn't get any, and I've been also applying for many companies through the university. I'm not getting any interviews, so probably there is something off, that you're not forwarding my CVs to companies. And he said, don't worry, you already got the scholarship. We are just trying to finalize the second person. I was like, what? That can't be true. And then later on, when we had the discussion, I mean, this is also one day before this results was announced, he said, it's more important that you are engaging with the community, that you are helping other people, you are active in the tech forums, and that this societies and whatnot is more important than having good grades. I mean, not necessarily more important, but it's also important, just like having grades. So you are also a perfect candidate for this position, even though you don't have the highest GPA. And it makes me realize that all the things that I did actually paid off at that point, because I'm not saying that I'm the best one out there across the candidate, but my application also stood out. Me thinking that I have no chance, but apparently I actually had a good chance. So the same happened when I was applying for jobs in Sri Lanka. I had a decent grades, but a lot of projects, the personal projects, the open source projects, the projects that I did with customers, all the activities with my societies that I took part in, my blog, everything actually played a major role getting a job like 6-7 months before I graduated. So I was chilling, totally chilling in my last semester because I already have a job, and then also made me do my rest of the studies very relaxed, because I don't need to find one now because I already got one. So that's my 2 stories, because I think that's more important to do external stuff the same way that you academics. Of course, focus on the academics, learn things. That's never going to go away. You will need it some day or the other. But most importantly, never forget to do all this extra stuff, because that plays a major role than you think. Okay, so you can contact me. I'm usually like available. You can talk to me on LinkedIn. So I usually check LinkedIn several times a day. You can join to contact me from, if you are on Discord, you can contact me. Also, there is this Discord community I mentioned. You can join. And Facebook, I don't know, Instagram, whatever. Drop me a message. I will try my best to answer as much as possible. Please don't spam. Yeah, that's it. I think now we go to the questions. Okay. So, this is like a lot of people ask the same question, and then simple answer is it depends. You have good grades, that will make you stand out in the CV process, CV screening process. You have bad grades, it will affect you also in the CV screening process. But you have good grades and no extra stuff, and you have bad grades with a lot of, not bad, but let's say not so good grades and a lot of other technical skills, the projects that you do, and so on. I think the second person will have a better chance. But it does not mean not to do your academics. Don't take the wrong way. Do your academics as best as possible, because it's also important when you are applying for companies outside of Sri Lanka, because they will check the degree, they will check the GPA and everything else. So that's also important. So try to do both if possible. So that's why I say, like, don't be the person that has all the greatest GPA and no projects at all, and also the other person very less GPA but does everything else possible in the world. Don't be these two people. Or the third one, not doing anything at all. Don't also be that person, but try to do both of them as much as possible. So GPA, it affects, but not as much as you think. And also, it also depends on the company. There are companies in Sri Lanka, they only hire, they don't even say it openly, but some people also say it openly, they only hire people with first class degrees. But some companies don't really care about GPA at all. There are most of the companies, they still consider the GPA a little bit, but mostly focus on the technical skills. Okay, now I need to put my astrological hat. I cannot predict the future because I don't have foresight. But okay, in technical terms, I think machine learning is becoming very common. It will be, I mean, it is already common. Whatever you do, even you do Google search, there is machine learning. You I don't know, get a notification from your Facebook, there is machine learning. Everything is based on machine learning, but now there is this huge trend because of the AI and so on. I mean, AI was there also beforehand, but just now it's publicly available for everybody to do all the crazy stuff. I think as um, an engineer or someone who's entering the industry, some knowledge on machine learning will be good, but I don't think like trying to go very deep into the subject and not doing anything other things will help. Okay, let me explain. If you want to do data science and machine learning, all good. Deep dive, learn everything possible, go to all the algorithms and frameworks and so on. But I don't think you being a software engineer without a machine learning knowledge will affect you any sooner, if you guess what I mean. Because there is this misconception where people think that software engineering will be replaced by machine learning or AI. at least not in this next decade or so. Don't worry. As per knowledge, it's always good to know these kind of things. For example, in my team, we do a lot of machine learning stuff, uh, and there is a dedicated data scientist. But as engineers, we should also know how it works. What is a model? How do you train? And what are hyperparameters and so on? We need to know what they are because we are deploying the machine learning model into a, let's say, mass audience and then use it. So data scientists not necessarily they know how to deploy a highly scalable machine learning model. They know about training and then using it, but deploying it where like millions of people use it, probably that's an engineering topic. So that's what I mean. Like, it's good to know about how machine learning things work, but not necessarily super deep. Yeah, anyway, regarding trends of machine learning, I think I don't really need to do a separate lecture here. Just Google everything. I mean, there are a lot of trends, but please don't go after trends. Don't stop whatever you're doing and then go after trends. That doesn't really work. Focus on something that you're doing now, get it done properly, and as a side thing, learn that. So many people stop whatever they're doing and new trend, machine learning. Don't do that. Thanks a lot for inviting me. Yes, it was. It actually is in the middle of my working day, so I have to now go to office now. But I mean, for Sri Lankan community, I think I will do more like many things because I still am fond of Sri Lanka, and I would like to do my best to get the students and people in the industry like share my knowledge and share my experience. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for me as well to get into the same rhythm. So thanks a lot for inviting me. I think I also enjoyed a lot. I also expected a little bit more questions, but I think it will come later on.